Alright, so I'm going to show you guys today how to start learning to practice moxa. So the first thing that you're going to need is like a tin. This is just like the bottom of a cake pan. You can also use something that has maybe for like your toaster oven, anything that's going to be metal and magnets are going to attract to. And you're also going to need 4 magnets. You need 1 tissue. Okay. Make sure it's a 2-ply tissue, most are. Okay, so you're going to take your tissue and you're going to put it straight on top of the metal. And then you're going to take 4 magnets and place them. This is where maybe a square piece of metal might be a little bit better, actually. You're going to want to make it so the tissue has the least amount of creases under it, because you don't want any air to get under your tissue, because that's going to affect how the moxa burns. And right now you just want to be testing your skills in burning, and you don't want any variance. Okay, so that's the setup. So I have 4 magnets. Doesn't really matter what kind of magnet, as long as they don't get in the way. If you have something smaller than this, it might actually work better. Okay, so now we're going to get some incense sticks. This. So if you're in Japan, you can get your incense sticks. They're kind of sold like that. There's a few different types of incense sticks. I tend to like to use thin ones just because I'm used to them. If you have something thicker than this, it's going to actually be more tonifying. A thinner moxa stick, because it doesn't give off as much heat, it's going to be a little bit better for dispersing moxa, but yeah, so I tend to break mine in half just because a full moxa stick is really long and it kind of gets in the way when I'm burning. So something about half the stick length, about that length. You want to see compared to my hand. You know, in this way when I'm holding my moxa, if you look inside my hand, it's not going to get in the way of my hand. Okay. Let's move that up just a little bit so that way you can see how I'm rolling. Alright, now I'm going to be using some moxa. I always keep my moxa in, let's move that up a bit more. I always put my moxa in a cedar box. And the reason why is because the cedar is going to keep out any humidity, which is going to destroy your moxa. Okay, and then this is from something else, I just put the name of the moxa right there on top so I know what kind I'm using. This is a really high quality moxa. Not the highest quality on the market, but I've been letting it dry in the cedar box for about 3 or 4 years now, so it's nice and dry and very fluffy. Alright, so then I just took out a little bit of moxa. See? And I'm going to even take off half of that because I don't want to touch it more than I have to. I'm just going to put it on the side. Okay, so I'm going to put 2 little clumps there on the side. Have my moxa stick. Have my ashtray. I'm going to put that here on my right because I'm right-handed. And then I have my lighter. Any old lighter will do. Alright, so then you start, alright? When you start, first you want to pick up your incense stick in your left hand, if you're right-handed, that is. And you're going to light your moxa stick. I guess you can really do this in any hand, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to put that lighter out of the way. And then I transfer my incense stick to my right hand, and with my left hand, I'm going to break off just a little bit of moxa here. I try to break it off, I don't know if you can see, so that it's kind of in a line already. And that way I don't really have to roll it too much. You'd want to roll your moxa as least as possible. And then you can see on the end of my incense stick I'm starting to get some ash there. So I'm going to take my right hand, because I'm going to be placing the moxa with my right hand, and I'm going to put that ash on the tip of my fingers. And that's going to help from the moxa to not stick onto my fingers. If I can, I'm going to do it a little bit on my left first and middle and thumb finger as well, because I'm going to be rolling with those fingers. If you tend to have really sweaty hands, this is a really good thing to help you while you're working on the patient. So instead of flicking your ash into the ashtray, I just put it straight onto my hands. And as you can see, it doesn't really make your hands dirty. Just puts a little bit of white ash on there. Alright, so Now we are able to work. So I'm going to start rolling with my first finger and my thumb. And I already, after, that was 3 rolls there, so that's a full moxa cone. I'm going to put that right on there. And I don't know if you can see the height there, but let's use a paper clip here. So this is just a normal paper clip, and you can kind of see next to it. It's very tiny. This is still a full grain moxa cone. And then when I go to light it, I'm going to light it from the side that's away from me. So if I light it on this side, it's the side that's towards me. I'm going to light it on the side away from me. And when I do that, if I have any ash on my moxa stick like that, the moxa is going to actually stick to my stick, to my incense stick there. I'm going to take that ash off. You never want ash on your moxa stick. And then when you light it, you're going to roll your fingers up, and then it's going to light. And when I do that, this is doing it more than I should. I'm actually just moving my fingers like this. And what that does is roll the incense stick towards me in that direction. And how that works is it's lighting the incense cone like this. And it stops the incense cone, the moxa cone from sticking to the incense stick. So again, I'm going to put it down. I have a little bit of, you don't really, it's not that big of a deal, but I'm going to take that off just in case. And then again, I'm going to roll as I just light the tip. There you go. Now this one I just put down was a little bit too big maybe. This is again a full grain. That one didn't work out as well. Okay. Take again another piece. Now it's already kind of in a line already. And that way when I roll with my left finger and my right finger, it's going to already be in a line. And this is going to be more of an idyllic type of thing. It's nice and it's more of a pyramid looking. In a separate video, I'm going to go through how to work through kinks, like when your moxa tends to stick to the incense, stick a lot, or if you're having problems with sweaty hands, some things you can go through for that. A few different things to control the burn and the environment, because all of these things are going to really affect how your moxa burns. Another thing, of course, that's going to affect it is the grade of moxa that you have. You don't want to have a grade of moxa that's really low. Most of the moxa that I've seen sold in the United States, although they say high grade, it's actually, I don't know if they don't take care of it well or if the way it was processed, but it's not very good. So if I can make any recommendation, I would say that you should get your moxa from Japan if possible, unless you have a really good line on moxa here in the US, and if so, please let me know about it. So again, I'm going to do maybe just 1 or 2 more. If I was going to do, right now this video is just going to be using full grain moxa, which that wasn't a good one, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw that one out. And if you come across one that maybe is a little bit hard, you might have rolled it a little bit. You can see that I twisted that one in half. So you can just kind of break it in half and make it a little smaller if it's too hard. There's a lot of tricks and things that you can do. So I'm going to go ahead and put my incense stick down, and we're going to go on to the next stage, and that's the stage of checking how hot your moxa is. And this is very important that when you're practicing, and you should practice daily if you can, especially in the beginning, you want to always check how hot your moxa is burning, because that's how hot the patient is going to feel. So to check with the tissue, and the reason why I prefer this method is because the tissue has 2 layers, yeah? So you're going to take the first layer, the layer that you burned the moxa on, and you're going to pull it off. Okay? And how you know that you did good moxa, I'm just going to put this in half here so you can kind of see. So this, on this side, let's move that closer. On this side, you can see this is where I burned the moxa. I burned it on this side of the tissue paper, yeah? Okay, and so you can see there's a few black dots, but it hasn't burned a hole through. If you want to have a hotter moxa, generally you can have a hole burn through here, and that's okay. Now on this tissue, the bottom layer of the tissue, you'll notice that maybe my first one was a little hot. I don't know if you can see the gradation there. Let's see if I can pick this up. Put these magnets back on just so it's easier to see. So again, this is the bottom side of the front half of the tissue. This is the bottom piece of the tissue that was in between the layers. And you can see that there's no holes here, and that there's just a very light coloring. Maybe this one was a little bit too dense. It burned too hot, and you can see that because it's not the same color as the rest of them. Yeah. Now, when you burn, you're going to notice in the beginning probably you're going to make holes in the bottom layer of the tissue, and that means that you're burning too hot. And you also want to make sure that all of the color is the same. So again, maybe this first one wasn't as good, and I can tell that. But I do know that it wasn't so hot as to burn a hole in the tissue because there's no hole there. Right? It's just a dark color. And then here you can see that there's a very light dot, and then there's no dots here. And these ones were actually a little bit smaller than the rest. So I can tell that maybe my full grain moxa isn't exactly on par today. You can tell that just by looking at the color. So you want to go through and do maybe 20 to 50, if you have time, 100 cones a day, which shouldn't take you, 20 cones should take you maybe 10 minutes once you get used to doing it. In the beginning, 10 cones is going to take you 20 minutes probably because you're going to be trying really hard to do so. But yeah, just try to aim for maybe 20 cones in 20 minutes. That's 1 cone a minute. That's a very, very slow and easy pace. And just do this every day. And in another video, I'm going to go through the steps of what you need to do in case your cones are too hot, and some few things to adjust your burn. So thanks for listening. If you guys have any questions, feel free to write them in the comments or email me at my blog. That's nipponhari at blogspot.com.